Good evening, everyone. And I welcome everyone to this Colne Town Council full council meeting, and to anyone who's joining us online. So have we got any apologies?
Yes, I've had apologies from Sarah and David Coburn-Price, Councillor Hurley and Councillor Mann.
We accept those apologies. Thank
Apologies
you.
from Alice Mann.
Yes, we've got that. Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah,
She told me to give.
thank you. Are we all okay to accept those apologies? Yes, thank you. Item 3 is declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest?
Just item 10, it's a call of its info only.
Right, okay, thank you. Thank you. Item 4, to approve a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on Tuesday the 17th of January. Are there any issues or amendments on these minutes? No? Well, can I have a proposal that these are a correct record then? David Clamp? Anybody else? You? Can somebody second them, please, then? Glenda, thank you. All those in favour? Item 5 is public forum, but there's no public that I can see that's attending. So we'll go on to finances. So that's 6A, to receive a schedule of payments for the 12th of January to the 14th of February for approval. So any questions or queries on paper 6A? Yes, Brian.
I see these 4 payments for Primet vermin. Have we controlled the vermin yet?
I'll ask our town clerk.
They have given us some recommendations. Basically where Primet is, it's just likely to get but we've got to try and stop them coming in. So they recommended that we put mesh underneath the fences, but then put them down into the ground as a deterrent to stop them getting in. Whether it will work or not, I don't.
It's been going on for 4 months now. I see payments since October, November, December, January.
They did actually recommend that you do. It was a programme of and they came every 2 weeks, and it was that was the recommended programme for to try and get rid of.
That was the recommendation at the time, and now they've gone to another recommendation to put mesh up out there.
Yeah, so from the original investigation, then they've said that this could help as well, but only it could.
Do you want us to keep that and on the agenda really to see how they're getting on? Because as you say, it's been, you know, we're paying all this money and we've not really had any effect yet.
Yeah, because it's 160 quid at a time, £163 a time, you know. So yeah, keep it on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, so
Yeah. Who is this a company that we're employing? Who, when you say they?
It was yeah, we got our grounds maintenance contractor to look at it, and they subcontract. They got us in touch with someone who could do the pest control.
And can they?
Well, they
I mean, all the experts at this.
yeah, they're.
Well, Mary says no.
oh no, just checking now. They're not.
We have official reports coming through.
Yeah. Is it?
So
is it
it is.
uniquely?
It's the proper thing. It's not.
Is it uniquely?
No, it's someone else who's actually doing the monitoring.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head.
So we'll come back to it and see how they're getting on.
I think it has just come to the end of the monitoring period, I think. So
Right, so 6A, can I have a proposal to accept the finances so I can, this month's bills, please? Brian, thank you. Thank you. All those in favour? And finances 6B, to receive a summary of budget, expenditure and commitments as at 14th of Feb. Any questions on that, on the summary budget? Anybody? No? Can I have a proposal then? Accept this that budget. Thank you, Brian. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Howard. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 7 is free swimming 23-24. Gina, would you like to speak?
yeah, and this is just an update really. This item did go on to the last FES committee agenda. Basically the price has gone up about 10% from last time. It was mentioned that some of the other parish councils actually pay quarterly. They did actually say it was actually based on numbers attending. However, when I actually spoke to Pendle Leisure, the person who actually runs the scheme, he did actually say that Trodden aren't on the main scheme. They do something separately, which is why it's cheaper for them. But they don't get to attend the same sessions, apparently. So they wouldn't do anything based on numbers. However, they have said that they will bill us quarterly, which obviously will help given that we are actually going to be receiving the precept quarterly. So rather than pay all at once in advance, they have said they'll let us pay quarterly. But as far as making it cheaper for us based on numbers, they wouldn't do that.
Got any questions on that, on what Gina said? Yes.
Not a question, but a comment that we have to always treat, I think so and so do it this way, with a large pinch of salt and find out the true position. And I'm guessing that if they did it by checking off everybody with a cone address or the cone school, it would take them twice as long and cost twice as much. So we're probably best.
I will say I was at the Wavelengths on Friday. My kids have swimming lessons there, and the free swimming session was just after that, and it was packed. It's fully booked. So yeah.
Right, can we move on to the next item then? Cyber Essentials. Gina, is that you again?
It is, yeah. Basically, this is Holker actually wanted to make us aware of this. They're making all the clients aware of this, as it's coming more to the fore with government contracts and things like that. People are requesting that people have this accreditation. So Holker has sent a quote through and have asked me to bring it to the council to see if they would like to do this accreditation. They have said that they will work with us to ensure that we actually do pass it and we do get it. Anything that needs to be changed, they will change, and that's all within the price that they've quoted. But yeah, it's just basically it shows that you take your customers' information seriously, and you want to be secure. It's public information, so it's.
Is it
And
about?
what if you don't have it? What if you don't want to have it?
If you don't want,
Any difference to anything?
I'm not sure. It's they're saying that people are attacking people who initially who don't have it because they know that they haven't got the proper security in place.
Yeah, it's about £2,100, so it's going to cost. Yes, Brian.
I actually read this documentation. I used to work for an IT company. Para 7, the certification is now becoming a requirement for various government contracts. Is this a consideration for us at Colne Town Council?
Not at the moment, I wouldn't say. We don't, there aren't any contracts that we would go for that that would require it.
Paragraph 8. Scheme is based upon a set of 5 security controls highlighted by the bullet points concerning firewalls, configuring user accounts, malware protection, software updates. Is this not a service that the RT provider should be providing as a basic offering rather than asking us to pay £2,100 for certification?
I was thinking that we should basically already have the majority of things in place to pass this anyway. Given that any recommendations that they've given to us, we've usually taken up anyway, so we should have stronger security. To be honest, I was surprised when I saw the quote how high it was. It's the actual price of getting the certificate is, I think it's £400 plus VAT. But the rest of it was for them to go through everything and make sure that we could do it and apply on behalf of us to ensure that we would get the accreditation. The idea is that once the initial survey has been done of the systems, that then it's easier to keep on top of. So it would not be as expensive going forward.
It doesn't say that though in the paperwork, does it? Yeah, I think to me, most of these things that they recommend could be done remotely without a man coming on site for 2 days. You know, we have minimum staff here anyway, and if they're looking after service for us and things, it can all be done remotely.
Anybody else got anything to say about this?
I agree.
There's just a couple of points, Chairman. I take it that from year 2 onwards, assuming you don't have a fail, it is £400 a year. I'm told if you do fail, and this is not through this company, it's through a different company, that if you do fail, you'll have the full fee to pay again to get you back on track. Now, I don't know. One of the points is, and it's already virtually been said in not in so many words with Brian really, we pay quite a bit for our IT service now, and if it doesn't, as it stands now, pass with flying colours, I would say we're getting ripped off anyway. That's just my take on it, but I might be being, too cynical about it. I don't know. But if we're paying for a decent IT service, which we need, it should pass with flying colours anyway. Otherwise, what we're being sold isn't fit for purpose, is it? I didn't read this until sort of mid-afternoon, and then I spoke to Gina about it, and I spoke to Howard very briefly about it, and to be honest, I'm not 100% certain whether we should go for it or not. The 400 quid, I wouldn't have a problem with every year, but I don't think we should be paying another 1,700 quid for someone to give us proof that what he's providing us with is fit for purpose. I think if he's providing us with something, he should be proving to us that it's fit for purpose, not the other way around. Now, I don't know, I'll see what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, in these straitened times, we have to be careful what we're spending
Chair.
householders' money on, don't we?
Chair.
Yes,
So how can we go forward then? Who can we see about this then? I mean, obviously can we talk to the provider or?
I'll just go back to our account manager. It was him that actually called me about it in the first place. And I will just explain what you've said tonight.
Okay.
See, you no sort of qualms with the actual certification itself, but the fact that given they're advising us on our IT that our system should be able to pass without having a in-depth survey.
I agree with David. Why are we paying £1,700 for somebody who's supplying? To verify it. It's a waste of money. And like David said, if it's not right, it's not fit for purpose. So I'd really stress that we're not going to pay £1,700. That he should prove to us that it's viable, not the other way around. Thank you, David.
Brian.
Can I just point out again, like firewalls, configuring user accounts, malware protection and software updates are all an administration task.
So you don't need somebody to come in and,
I'm saying that we don't do it from here.
no, do it. Yeah, that's what we pay them to do. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, I think if we were further up the food chain, so to speak, LCC perhaps,
Yeah.
then it's probably more important for them to have it. But we've got what you consider to be like a really robust system in place. Anyway, we've got Microsoft 365, which is class leading in every respect, in all forms. You could even argue that we don't even need to pass any sort of certification because we've already got it. We've arguably already got it because Microsoft will have it. They'll have all sorts of different letters after the name, won't they?
Yeah.
And I think at this moment in time, it's pretty superfluous. So we don't. I don't think we need to spend £2,000 on it at all. That's my take on it.
I mean, I think we're quite good here because I've had to just this last few days contact other councillors in other councils about something else, and not to do with the council work, and they all use their council email. And I mean, I think we're quite good in not only using our council email for what it's meant to be for. So I think we're quite good at keeping to the rules, as it were. So is that a proposal that well, Gina, if you'll go back to them and tell them what we've said. Yes, David.
There is one other thing to bear in mind, Chairman, and Jonathan mentioned 365 and emails. This does not cover and certify the councillor's email address access. It only covers what's on the servers in this, in the building and in the system, and what's at Olka, and staff access to the system. It does not certify that the links with the council members to anything are all kosher and above board and
Well, that's
are in order. It doesn't certify that. It's only the staff members, which is how many of you is there? 8. That's so really it certifies that when they access it, they're accessing it in a safe and proper manner when they're at work, and if they have to, if they're working from home, that they can access it properly from home as well. It doesn't certify any of the 17 council members at all for their access for their emails. That's not covered in it.
no.
Yeah, but it shouldn't need to be,
No, it shouldn't.
because we're using, every time we send an email, it's going through a data center owned by Microsoft. It could be in Denmark for all we know. So it's like, I don't want to get it to.
Right. Well, we'll bring it back.
I propose I just leave it for that and revisit it in perhaps. Well, that's what
I was going to say, can we not just say we'll review it?
Knock it
in
on the head
12
for a bit.
months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard?
I think the main point is, first of all, it doesn't say they're sending 2 people. They could be doing it remotely, but the main point is, why do they want £1,700 to prove something that they should already know
Yeah.
is up to it? It was a bit, if they had said, we've looked at your system and to tick all the boxes to get this certification, we need to spend £1,700. That's a different scenario altogether. The question of whether, the nub of it is, it should be pretty secure, and we won't have I'm going to say paywall. I mean fire. You know, Holkers and everybody will have firewalls and antivirus stuff, but you know, it's important that, you know, we ask them the question as to why they think, they must think something's not just right. You know, maybe we dangle in front of them that you know, other IT providers are available.
What we've had a proposal from Jonathan, and you were yeah, and then we've got sort of a counter proposal to go back and talk to them and say we don't think we need it, but if you can tell us something else, you know, we'll look at it again. I don't know which way we're going to go with that. Do you want to?
I think, Chairman, we're missing the point in a way. They're providing us with a service, and so that we can have a certificate to say that that service they are providing to us, at whatever the cost is, and I forgot what it is, but whatever the cost is, they want us to pay them 1,700 quid to give us a certificate to say that what they're providing us with complies to the regulations. That's what they're actually saying. Now, I don't get that when they're providing it for us in first place. If we were getting as IT services from Fred Bloggs down street and they were going to accredit it for us, I could understand them charging. But when they're providing the service in first place, I don't think they should be charging for it. And what I think we should do is basically what Jonathan said, well, added on to that, I think Gina should go back to them and say, because of the cost, we are minded not to do it. And if they come back with any further comments, then if Gina wishes, she can bring them to a future meeting. The comments.
Brian?
I think they're hoping that we do miss the point here.
O'Brien? Right, is a money maker.
Most of the extra cash that they charge is for the man to come on site for 2 days. So I think the only thing I can think of that he'll be doing here for 2 days is, I presume the laptops aren't locked down. And I'm presuming maybe an officer could put their own software on there and download. Nathan will be able to tell us different. And I would think that's all they can check is the officers' laptops to make sure that there's no illegal software on them themselves.
To be honest, if you try and download anything, it asks for an admin password that Holker would have to provide anyway. So,
Right, well. Yeah, so we just crack on. Yeah. All those in favour to not take any further action, not to pay them any more money. Thank you. Speed update. Yeah.
right, so this went to the last FES meeting. It was proposed, a guy came from Altham Parish Council, and that's they actually manage SPIDs. They do their own and they also manage them for other people as well. He said that they could provide us with the service. I think it was £150 per sort of placing the spade, and then I think it was 8 days later they would come and remove it. And so every time you wanted to do that, it was £150. So they were saying that they could do that. They were also advising us on certain devices that they would recommend. They also stated that it's likely they could get a discount on that price. They were saying that LCC put a lot of barriers in the way, in that you have to get things certified, that like the lampposts have to be certified to say that they will bear the weight of the device. So there's charges for people to come out and do surveys, also lead times on backplates and things like that, that they said could take 10 to 12 weeks before we could get them. I have had an email from David who said, Coburn Price, who said that the amount that's been set aside for the project is just over £13,000. That's area committee money. Yeah. So this is what's been put aside for the SPIDs and the backplates or the computer. What we do know that there are some backplates already. I emailed LCC and I have had some information back on locations of backplates, but they are in Fulridge and Lancashire Bridge. There's no mention of any in Colne. They've also sent me some other documentation because they've changed certain procedures for things as well. I was supposed to get a quote from the guy at Altham to find out how much, because we were thinking we could buy 2 or maybe 3 initially, just as a starting point. But he hasn't got back to me as yet, so I'm still waiting for him to get back to me. And I think that's about all the update is. So I'm still waiting for information on price.
I've got Neil, he wants to speak, and then Howard.
Yeah, so the backplates, they won't need surveys on the lampposts, so the backplates are already on them. Is that correct?
Some of the backplates are already in situ, so could be used. So we wouldn't have to, so you're halfway there basically if there's already a backplate there.
But they're not in Colne.
So, yeah, I know. So that's what we can deal with Fulridge and Lancashire Bridge, the backplates are already there. So then we can use the money for Colne. I don't know what it is at this moment in time, but there was I'm gonna put it sensibly, some people from Nelson, young lads like to do a circuit and very fast. So I think we only need 2 more on the arteries of Colne, to catch them. They don't go around the back street, they go up the main roads. So the surveys would only amount to maybe 2 or 3 lampposts. And the sooner we get them up, the better. But there's been a very lack of people coming from Nelson, if you will. I haven't seen any for a little while, a couple of weeks now. So it'd be worth the money doing the surveys on the 2 arteries into Colne, just to start off, get the surveys done, get them up and get them working as soon as possible. Thank you.
Wouldn't you have to do them, because during the day, you can't speed either on North Valley or
No.
Main Street. It'd have to be at night, wouldn't it?
Yes,
But,
it is at night.
yes.
I think after the meeting at FES, I was more confused than ever, having the lecture, I think, on how the police weren't doing their job and this, that, and the other. And we didn't go off at a tangent. He kept going off at tangents, but I think the outcome of it was that each one of these devices costs about £3,000 as a ballpark figure. He said he hoped he'd be able to get backplates. I'm trying to read my note here. Well, I think he said they're £75 each now, but he could get them for.
I think he could get them cheaper than.
He could get them for a £5 or so. But anyway, the problem is and again, there has been talk that there are backplates throughout this end of Pendle. But if the backplates are in Foleridge and Lancashire Bridge, we can't spend money on doing those because it's not our parish to spend the money. We can only spend the money in Combe. Now, yes, we could buy a spade and lease it to Lancashire Bridge or Trawden, but we'd have to work figures out and everything. The information that we are still missing is, are there other backplates on other streets that are within our town boundaries? I know there's one backplate on Birtwistle Avenue for a start, and there's one in Castle Road, I'm being told. So why the county don't know about these, I don't know. I'm sure at one point there was one on Craddock Road as well. I've got a hazy memory of. But this is what we need to definitively work out exactly where they are, and if there are gaps in it, how many more we would need. There is, I would say, a need for one somewhere around about Christchurch on our side of Keighley Road rather than Lancashire Bridge's side. I'm not sure, well, maybe as well on Skipton Road. And again, I have a feeling that at one point there has been a spade on our part of Skipton Road, for want of a better phrase. And one on, when I say one, that would be two, one for each direction. And we would need on Burnley Road as well. Now, if Castle Road's covered, we would then pretty much have things covered for our. Well, I don't like. I was going to call it a parish, and it's now we're bigger than a parish on our footprint. So this is what we need to find definitively, whether there are backplates anywhere else other than Castle Road, and I've forgotten where you said, David.
Birtwistle Avenue.
There's certainly one on Birtwistle. But I mean, that's obviously a 20 mile an hour one. Or Shore Street is another one that could have them. And then, we need to get what the cost of a proper backplate is, not Altham's proverbial back of a fag packet. Oh, we think we can get one for a tenner or whatever he said. I would have thought you were talking of 75 quid was nearer the mark. So that's what we need to do. Now, in that communication from David CP, is there an indication of whether that 13,000 disappears in March or end March, or whether it would still be there after that.
It's put, I think,
I just want to jump in before you make a decision. So from where I'm sitting, the back plates are, it's regardless of back plates are 7,500 quid. It's the surveys that the back plates go on that's going to cost the money and the verification where they are. Now, as from a normal person in Colne, the circuit that they use it all the time. And one's near the fire station on that straight road there. They do crazy speeds, and at night time through the town. So in reality, you'd only need, we have them around the town wherever you want. But the two that I'd like to see is one in the middle of the town, coming up here, and one on the circuit. That's two. So we only need really to catch the ones that are running around the town, which they don't go anywhere because they can't speed. The speed ramps and cars. So, but the main time on a Friday, Saturday night, 10ish, they're off. They're crazy. So if we concentrate on the town centre, that's where they come, and windows down and shouting and what have you. So if we concentrate on them, I think we do really well. So the back plates are nothing really. It's just the surveys on the post that we're going to put them on. I think, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we must remember though that the fact that there is one of these indicator devices there, that all it does is flash you are going 80 miles an hour or whatever. And in fact, the man from Altham was saying you've got to be very careful what you set the upper speed at. So if it's a 30 limit, don't set it at more than 40, 45, because they had one, forget where it was, but the upper limit was set. And so people were trying to go even faster to indicate it, make it flash at 90 miles an hour. So what we're suggesting is probably not going to catch in terms of stopping them doing it. The, for want of a better word, boy racers, because all it does is says you're going too fast, and if it's set properly, it won't say you're doing more than 45. So
what I'm saying is, I understand that it flashes like you're doing a smiley face if you're doing under 30, and then so and so. But what we've got around Colne is a really good camera system. So if that works like that, saying you're doing 35 and 30 mile an hour, and the cameras, you've caught them.
Sorry, you haven't, because what the camera won't do is prove who was driving it. Very difficult. Very difficult. But how? But you have to prove that it was going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. And unless you do that at the point it's doing it, it's no good that the thing flashes it on Craddock Road and then it comes round past the shepherds and catches the camera. It can't prove it.
It can. It can. So if you have the camera. Okay, Dorothy. What I'm saying, Dorothy, is if you face a camera facing the smiley face and the car's there, you've got it doing 35 mile an hour. This is my thinking. Don't shoot the messenger. So cameras facing the camera, the smiley face doing 35 mile an hour. It'll have the guy doing 35 mile an hour and it's showing it and the car in front of it. Would that not work?
Yeah, there's one at the bottom. Well, I think that would be, well, that's why they have these, what do you call them, gap socket, like the one at the bottom of Primmett Hill. That's the one that catches them actually doing it at a point in time with calibrated proof and all the rest of it.
What's the point of having them then? If you're gonna say, yeah, you're doing 60 mile an hour.
because it does tend to slow the average speed. You know, the guy showed us that the average speed before the thing was there was, I can't remember the figures, was say 50 miles an hour. But with having the thing there, people who, not the people who were deliberately speeding and racing, but the one that the general motorist, if you will, that is a bit late for a meeting and comes down Craddock Road, sees a thing, thinks, oh, hang on, I better slow down. Those are the, well, this is what we're looking at, but we've got to, you know, we as the council haven't got the money at the moment. We've got the money that the Colne Area Committee's got. We then have an ongoing revenue cost of either paying 150 quid to Altham or training up the lensmen to be able to put them up, stick an orange light on the van, because you could have orange lights and flashing lights and goodness knows what. In an ideal world, you could go out with your stepladder, put the thing up and do it. But unfortunately, the County Council of the Highways Authority, and I'm sure their rules and regulations will stretch to, well, there isn't enough paper around this room to do it, because they've got detailed things of how you do it, and you got to test that the lamppost ain't going to fall over when you put the camera on, or as the gent from Altham said, you got to wear a hard hat, because when you fix it, the glass on the lamp that you're fitting it to may fall out and hit you on the head. So
What are you proposing then?
I think we just got to we got to nail down how long this money's available for. And if it was just for Colne, fine, we could get 3, maybe 4 for that. But that money's to cover Trawden, Lancashire Bridge, Falbridge. Now, you know, this is what we need to get the split of that. And, you know, are we going to charge them? We've got to work out. It's not just as simple as saying, let's do it, is what I'm saying.
Jonathan?
Just something to say, it might help Neil. I think what Neil is trying to say is we need to catch the serious speeders.
Yeah.
What it will do, putting these speed detecting devices up through the town, it will gather the data that we can then send on, or Altham or whoever it is we get to do it can send on to the police as solid evidence that there's obviously a serious problem, and the police can act quicker and take it more seriously rather than just listen to people having a whinge. They've actually got proof. So that's I think that's the way it will be tackled.
Thank you, Jonathan. But in reality, there's not many places you can speed, not many times of the day you can speed.
No.
So if we concentrate on the nighttime activity and the routes that they use, just it will only take 2, one on the main road here and one on the circuit. That's what it would take, and the information you get off that would be phenomenal.
I've got Pat and then Brian.
I'm just thinking, if we have one up at the town centre-ish and one on by the police station, what about the people that have been knocked down outside Muni? There have been quite a few people in accidents down there. We need 3, we don't need 2, we need 3. Yeah, we can't afford them, but what are we going to do about them?
Sorry,
You can move them.
as everybody says, you can move them around. However, coming up that road, coming up the Muni Road, Muni outside the Muni has always been a hotspot because of the amount of people, footfall and crossing the road. It's always been somebody got knocked.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is to find the information for the police to stop these joyriders, and that's what they are. And they don't speed up the town. So when they get into the town here, and they impress the ladies, rev the cars, and speed through the town. Well, they're everywhere. If you go around Nelson, some of our local councillors are complaining now that young boys in Ferraris racing around the place. So I'm just thinking Colne, we're Colne Town Council. So I just like want to, just a Colne Centre, just calm it down a bit, because drink, music and fast cars don't mix. And we have here, people crossing the road to different pubs. That's all I'm trying to say. Thank you.
Brian?
I would think you'd be putting these backplates in certain strategic positions around town, and you won't need too many cameras. You know, when I've seen these faces, they put them up maybe for 2 weeks for monitoring. Then you inform the police and say there's a problem here, and then you move the camera, the speed elsewhere. So I don't think you need too many of them. And like I say, it's up to the police to sort it out at the end of the day, isn't it? Because there's no penalty otherwise.
No. David?
I think, Chairman, there's a few things we've got to get his head round. Firstly, if what Neil suggested could be done, it would be brilliant, using evidence from CCTV camera along with this box, but you can't. Because to prosecute someone for speeding, it has to be a still photo and it has to be stamped on it the exact speed and the exact time by the machine that took the photo. So they're not linked together in any way, so it falls apart there. But the evidence you get from it, and it could say on a Saturday night there's usually a problem here, that's your evidence that comes back after you've done your tests and what have you. It could say that there's a problem on Craddock Road. So that is the reason why the police should get out there on a Saturday night then with an handgun, you know, camera, and nab 1 or 2 people. That's how it'll come into itself. But you can't link the two together and prosecute someone off the CCTV because it shows it. How would you know that the car passing that CCTV camera was exactly the car that triggered the thing? You wouldn't know, would you? It's no way.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you said there, David, and you're right. But I'm just saying, if we don't do nothing, then nothing happens. And if we like, my friend Howard said, how long the money is going to be there for?
I think it's only till the end of March.
Well, we should be looking at that. We should be like spending it tomorrow. Because the thing that we do, we're all guilty of, is we have a meeting, to talk about something, then we'll have a meeting and then we'll act on it. Whereas we know we have money, we know what the spivs are, we know that the backplates don't cost a lot. So why don't we stick 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever you want, but get them put up ASP, spend the money, and then we'll get some more money next year maybe if it works. I'm not saying that we are, but if we leave that £13,000 there, and then we have another meeting next month about this and where the backplates are, then we have another meeting saying like we agreed to have a survey. That's 2 months gone, and 3 months has gone. So let's between us get it done as soon as possible, and then we'll go from there. I mean, forget prosecuting anybody, but let's get them up. Let's get some information, pass it on to the police, and then, like you said, David, now we're handgun, we can do that. But until we get some information, we're not doing nothing. We're just marking treading water. We were renowned for it. Every council meeting, big or small, was renowned for. Right, we'll talk about this at the next meeting. That's another month. So I'm just trying to push it along. You're the finance man, David, and yeah, and there's a lot of good ideas here. A lot of good councillors made good comments, but let's turn them comments into actions as soon as possible, please. Thank you.
Can I finish what I was saying now, Chairman?
Oh, you can.
Well, there are a few other things to take into consideration as well, because we have highlighted certain points, such as round Craddock Road, etc., using it as a race circuit. But the advice is with these gadgets is you put it up for no longer than 10 days, and then you have to take it down and move it elsewhere. And you can't go back for 13 weeks. So you'd only be able to put it up for 4 10-day periods in a year on Craddock Road.
I'm happy.
Yeah, but on that assumption, if it can stay up 10 days, yeah, over 13 weeks, each camera needs about 8 or 10 locations to be placed in, doesn't it? What I'm trying to say is you need 8 or 10 times as many mounting brackets as what you've got cameras. So if you've got 4 cameras, in theory, you're probably able to put cameras in about 30 to 40 locations throughout the town, aren't you? So you need a lot more bracket positions, but there's a lot more comes into this. I don't think it's something you can just make a decision and say, right, we're going to do it next month before money runs out. Because I think Pendle's dropped us right in it with this. Because there are other things to sort out. They don't want us just to do Colne. They want us to do Folridge and Lensher Bridge and Trodden as well. And every time one of them cameras is taken down and moved, there's a cost of about 150 quid. We don't know yet, not in writing for sure, whether Folridge is prepared to pay for theirs moving. So if one gets put up in Folridge, who's going to pay for it being put up and who's going to pay for it being taken down?
Yes.
Well, we didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about this until a fortnight ago. And Pendle's saying in another month, money runs out, but they didn't tell us about it until a fortnight ago. So
Okay.
Hang on, Chairman, I haven't finished yet. It's just getting pathetic. They're just rushing and rushing and rushing with this. There's also another thing that's a problem that really gets my back up is health and safety on road safety is a Highways Authority issue and a police issue. Yeah, not ours. It is LCC's issue because they're the Highway Authority and they should keep the roads safe for people to go on. If we do put this up, they have even threatened to charge us 30 quid for each lamppost we hang the brackets on. No, I still haven't finished. But it does get me back up, Neil, when they're saying you can put these brackets up on our lampposts and do our job for us, but we're going to charge you 30 quid for doing it. It really gets my back up, does that? And the other thing, my last point on it, and then we can let somebody else make their comments, is Pendle have come up with this money for this scheme. They've come up with a scheme of adding Colne and Trodden and Lensher Bridge and Folridge together and think it's a brilliant idea if Colne Town Council run the whole system for the 4 parishes. If it's that good a system, why aren't Pendle doing it? Why are they palming it off onto us? And I've said enough now, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to respond.
Well, Dorothy.
Dorothy, okay, whatever. No, you're okay, my love. You're all right. Yeah.
Well, I'm totally lost with this, and this is probably because I'm not a driver. So I go about and I don't really care. Well, I do care, but you know, if you're not a driver, you don't always get it. But what I was going to ask was, I mean, I was, well, you've just put a question into my mind. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And have we got support of the police? Are they going to follow up what we're doing? Do you know what I mean? What are they going to be at the back of us, supporting us? Sorry.
Are they actually going to act on the back of this?
Yeah. Are they?
No,
Or is it just going to be totally left to us? I agree with David. This isn't our job. This is not our job. We'll be out dressed as traffic wardens next. This is not our job.
It was the Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner that actually came to us originally with the idea for the SPIDs to see if we would do it.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to put something like this forward to a council, you need to know the ins and outs of the council. You need to know how they operate. You need to know who does what, who can do what. You know, you can't just come along and say, right, we've got the scheme and you can do it, and also you can take along 3 parishes with you. It don't work like that.
Yeah. So I agree with David, he's a finance man, good man. And I agree with what he says, it costs him this, it costs that, it costs that, it costs that, it costs that, it costs that. When the Pendle Borough Council say you have to take on Troden and Ladybury and like that, who says we have to? We haven't accepted no. You know, if we want to look after just the town centre, then we should be able to. But if it's going to cost all this money, then just never talk about them ever again. Bin them all, put the 13 grand somewhere else. Or we can act on the 13 grand. We can act on this and act on that. David, you won't know more about this than me, and I'm glad you're here and you've said all you've said. So if we have 4 cameras and we move them around the place and you can't move them back for 13 weeks, I agree with all that. But here we are again as a council, and we all want the best for our community. Here we are again. This is going to be moved another month and then another month, and they will not see a spiv up in this town for what, 6 months, if that, if ever. We can, they are presuming we're going to take 3 more branches on, but we don't have to. We're contact, no, we're not going to take them on. We're not going to take them. They want them, then they can either, like you said, David, hire off us or whatever. So this is a town council, so we should look after the town centre. I agree with everything you've said, David, and you know, I'm glad you're here. But if we don't do nothing, then nothing's ever going to happen. Thank you.
Just to come back on that, Chairman, and Gina can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we have been given the option of just doing Colne. We've only been given the option of doing Colne, Folridge, Lencher Bridge and Troden combined. The money is not there as far as I am aware, unless we take them on as well as doing our own.
So have you got paperwork saying that we have to take them 3 on? No. Yeah, no, the answer is no. So we haven't got paperwork saying we have to take them on. So if we can.
I've got paperwork that we can have the 13 grand, like just doing our own.
Yes, we have.
Not just doing our own.
No.
Right, so if we can't do our own and we have to do the others, scrap it all, because we're not going to pay our money for other things, so scrap it all. So,
I was at the Colne area, and it was that all the councillors voted that Colne would be in charge and do the whole, you know, Folridge, because I said, well, Troden, and you know, they've got plenty of money, you know, they're not broke or anything, but no, it's for Colne have to.
no, but I agree with you, but we should be paying for other people's things. I agree with you, I'm not arguing with you, I'm just saying that if we want it, then we have to pay for the Colne, not others. If not, we'll just bin them. Like you said, let them organise it. Let County Council organise it. But you know and I know, the bigger it goes, the longer it takes. You'll never see one in Colne for a year, 2 years if you give it in their hands.
I mean,
Where we're a council of action and we do things that we need to do and we get them done. But something like this, we either do it or get rid of it. Can't keep talking like this.
Is it not worth us going back to Pendle Council and saying, you know, we can't do it for everybody, but we're happy to take a part of that money and do something Colne.
Yeah, but nobody's asked, have they?
Can I ask you a question, Chairman? And this relates to something that Jonathan's mentioned actually, which were, would they come and stand there with the speed gun and catch someone anyway? Now, my question is, on quite a few occasions, it last few months, and one of them quite recently, and it happened up in town centre, some hooligans thumped a guy and knocked him down to the ground, and someone rang the police up. And on switchboard, the answer that they got from the police was, we can't attend to it tonight, it is not an emergency. So they didn't turn up when somebody got banjoed in Main Street and left for dead on floor. Well, would they turn up if we give them the data as to where traffic was speeding and be bothered to stand outside the road with a gun testing people going past. I have very little faith in that.
I agree, but we haven't asked.
But we need to know that, don't we? We need that.
Jonathan,
I've forgotten what we're actually deciding now, to be honest with you. Can we try and get to the
is this 13,000?
crux?
I think one thing we're missing is the price of the spid from, I've forgotten his name, the man at Altham, the Altham man, because once we know that, we can then, we've got to have a discussion with the other 3 parishes and the county and everybody, and you know, we need to organise that as quickly as we can. But I'm afraid, again, this is some people on the Colne Area Committee thinking that all they got to do is click the fingers and say, here's the money, without thinking it through. Now, I would have thought once we know the price of them and we've got agreement that Lancashire Bridge, Folridge and Trawden will pay for the putting up and taking down, and you know, if the money's short, put their money where the mouth is. But you know, we're waiting for the man from Altham to say, right, they're not £3,000 and we can get them for 2.5, 2, 1. He was a bit vague when he was saying that. Once we know all the stuff, we can actually act fairly quickly on it. But as David said before, it's only from the man that the police commissioner, the assistant, whatever his official title is, came, and it took till beginning of February to get Altham, who were the people that seem to do it all over the place, to do it. So, you know, it's taking time, but it's not our fault it's taking time. It's them dragging their feet rather than us. I think we've acted as quickly as we can.
I'll go back to Jonathan. Say what you're going to say.
Sorry, what?
What are we doing?
Well, we need some clarity, don't we, on
Right.
who's paying for what.
So can Gina please read the email out?
Right. I think the idea was initially to use existing backplates. Whether the email suggested Lancashire Bridge and Folridge. However, I haven't had a chance because I was on leave last week. I haven't had a chance to go through it to find out where they actually are. So if there are some in Colne, it may be that there are. The idea was to use to buy 2 or maybe 3 of the devices and use existing backplates whilst we're waiting for other backplates to be put in. Because they were saying that there can be like a 10 to 12 week lead time. Yes.
Yeah.
So the original
we can order.
quotes that Pendle got were for 5 devices and 20 plates. I have those original quotes, which will be very outdated now. But if we're still thinking along the same lines, it's my understanding that it has been discussed with the parish councils and they are expecting to be recharged. Now, I would suggest if there are backplates in Colne, if we then speak to the parish councils and they're not willing, then we don't put them up in their area. We just.
So can we find out, through you, Chair, sorry, can we find out if the money can be there forever or if it puts off and not? We don't know that, do we?
Yeah,
We-
if you
That's what we
just
need to know.
let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. David Coburn Price has suggested,
Who's the email from? Sorry.
David Coburn Price,
All right.
this one.
okay.
So anyway, he said that it might be an option to secure, say, 3 visits from the guys at Altham initially. They could also train our lensmen to put the devices up. And then get them to bill in advance so that those funds are spent before the 31st of March. Then we could then draw them down over the next 3 to 6 months. So I'm presuming the funding will still be there after the 31st of March, but we have to spend a little bit of it this financial year.
Do you understand that?
So,
Are we waiting for these guys at Altham though? That's the thing.
We're just waiting for a price to see how many we're going to purchase, or we're going to ask Pendle to purchase. And then once we've done that and we have we know where the back plates are and we know where we want other back plates, then we can obviously start the process rolling. But obviously we need consensus from the council that we can go ahead and do that.
We get in contact.
Pat? Pat?
They have been previously, yeah. Mhm.
So we can't make a decision on it really because we don't know what's going on. Nobody's told us what we need to know. The way I look at it is, we are Cone Town Council and we should look after Cone. Let the other 3 look after themselves. They've all got committees like we've got, let them talk about it amongst themselves. If they need all the information and they can make a decision, okay. But it's not good enough because we are not allowed. No, we don't do anything with the roads. If I have somebody who rings me up and says it's a pothole, I ring Lancashire Council. There's no point ringing us or Pendle because it's Lancashire County Council. Why aren't Lancashire County Council paying for it? Because Lancashire County Council are who they are. Also, these back plates, who told you that they're in Coleridge and Lancashire Bridge, but not in Cole?
I've just received an email from LCC, and the initial email, because I was on leave last week, I've only had a chance to flick through. They've in their email, it just mentions Lancashire Bridge and Coleridge. However, I need to look at the actual document in detail to find out where the existing plates are.
And you don't know yet whether we've got any back plates in Cole. And it's also that have been done. And they'll look at it. I mean, why people like agreed, as the Cole people on that committee said, yes, we'll look after Coventry as well. Because that's wrong.
I do believe it has gone to the parishes. It has been discussed. I know Chorlton did, and they decided that they didn't want to do it. So we are the last port of call.
But we are not then looking after our people, are we? We're not doing anything for our taxpayers.
Well,
We all feel needs to be done.
Brian?
Darryl.
Now, can I just make the question of backplates? We were told categorically by the person that wrote that email that there was something like 23 backplates already in existence, and that there was a plan somewhere that showed them all. And we've been told that by both councillors, Cobb and Price, because we were told that by Sarah at one meeting, and David said it at the last FES meeting, that there was a plan somewhere with them all marked
Well,
on.
Yeah, well, I got an email last week when I was on leave, which has a document on it. So obviously I need to look at that to find out where they are.
Brian,
It may be that there are some in common.
can we like get
I'd like to make a proposal that before the next meeting, we speak to all the relevant parish councils, we find out where all the backplates are, we contact the police to see if they're interested, and we actually get one of these speeds to play around with.
I say that.
Okay, David?
There's
You've got
one
a
other thing I
second?
can't get my head round. Is the money is coming from Pendle Council via the Colne Area Committee, yeah, to pay for these spids. And it's been offered to us to use it for the spids for Colne and the other surrounding parishes, yeah. And it is therefore Pendle money. It's Pendle Council's own money, and they've put it into the system via the area committee. So why all of a sudden is there a danger of losing it on the 31st of March? It's not money from elsewhere out in country somewhere that's government money or European money, as it would have been years ago, you know, before Brexit. It's Pendle money. So why is it going to disappear on 31st of March? It is just Pendle that's pushing us into a corner.
I think it's mainly that they've put that money aside for this purpose. If we're not willing to take it on, as the other parish councils aren't, then they will deallocate it and reallocate it to something else.
That's how they work.
Tell them we are interested in it, but we need this other information, which we're going to get for the next meeting. And if their money is still available, then we will consider it all in the round and come to a decision. If they want to take their money away, that's fine. But your public out there can be told that we were offered this fancy scheme, and then Pendle pulled money from under us and took the money away.
What we could do, I mean, because Altham did say that they have spids that we can use. So whether initially, like obviously David's put in his email, if we can use theirs initially, whilst we're waiting for or deciding how many we want to buy, and he's put maybe 3 visits, which would be £450 altogether, just to see the information that we get, how it goes, and then during that time we can try and get the information that we need from the other parishes to see if we want to go ahead. But from this email, I would suggest that if we do that and we get them to invoice us before the 31st of March, then this money will still be there.
Dorothy?
Where did this idea of spids come from in the first place? Was it something that was presented to us? I can't remember now. Was it?
I think it would.
Yeah, what it were is Lancashire Bridge had a major spate of people speeding. That's where it actually came from.
I remember now.
Right.
That's where it come from. But then, if you look at every ward that we are in, stable speed, and
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if it was an individual or a council or a county council or the police even.
Lancashire Bridge accounts the same way.
But
Right.
it went to Trodden a couple of years ago. Yeah. 2 or 3 years.
had some, didn't
Yeah,
they?
because Trodden had some. So it's been, and I think like the Corbyn prices are borough councils for Trodden and Lancashire Bridge, aren't they? Bullsworth. And I think that's where the impetus came from in the first place. Yeah, I agree that we're going to need all this information before we can, and we need to get it in the next couple of weeks, yeah? And then if we need a special meeting, we can get one.
Yeah.
We get one to play around, because if police aren't interested, we can still play around with it.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that council said here tonight, I don't disagree with 1 minute. But at the end of the day, we're here for the people of Cornwall, not for the, you know, for the whole world. We deal with our situation. If there's money there and it's not going to run away, then let's get on with it. But you know and I know that we have a situation and it goes for a meeting, and then goes for another meeting, then goes for another meeting. So let's just collect, like you said, collect all the information, bring it back to the next meeting, and then back with David, make a firm decision, yeah or nay. If we don't ask questions, we'll not get answers, and we don't move forward.
Can I just make a point about the money, just to give you a bit of information that I've had this week about a project that Tony Greaves and myself and Alice had in Waterside, and it's been put on the back burner, but Mark Hunting emailed me back end of last week to say that if this 10 grand wasn't spent by the end of March, we would lose it. So this is how it works, isn't it? Yeah.
Gina's already pointed out this spirit, that if we spend something now, the money will be available. Get one now.
Yeah. If we start spending.
You'll agree then with me that time is an issue.
Yeah.
You'll just let's do the information thing. Get one to mess about with, and we've got it, we can use it, see it's right, and then we're more informed. I'm just frightened that every time we have something like this, that it must be on the meeting, and it must have, and
It's
just
the
all
next
you all
one.
know, we all decide. So let's get all the information for next time, finance man and everybody else.
If you haven't got the information, if you
We
haven't.
can do that. Comes back next month. We've still got a week and a half, well, a week and a half before the end of March anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're right, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, there's an FES on the 7th of March, so if they get some information for there,
Yeah.
Because if you know, if suddenly they found that it's not a goer, then you know, at least we'll know even earlier.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm happy, so I'm happy to take your motions.
Right. All those in.
Oh, sorry. It does depend on the lead time for the devices, whether we would have to pay for it before the end of March or not. What I would suggest we do is get Altham use one of their cameras initially and get them to do so many visits and get them to invoice us before the 31st of March. Then we can spend at least, you know, if it is £450 for 3 visits, then they can be doing that whilst we're doing everything else.
So I agree with all that then, Chairman, and that's his way forward, and we've agreed it, but we're still to vote on it.
Yeah.
Right. Can Gina ask one more question and find out some more information for us for the next meeting then? Can you ask the people at Altham if a month today, which would be the 21st of March, we make the decision and issue them with a pro forma invoice for the full amount for the cameras, will Pendle Council accept that as the order's been placed because it's a pro forma invoice and the money is spent? And I think the answer will be yes.
There we go. Problem solved. So we have a vote.
Yeah.
Let's have a vote.
Yeah. Right, we've got this proposal and including the things that David said to attach to it. So can we see all those in favour to do this, try to get this sorted? We don't want it coming back, do we? No. Okay, thank you. Right, oh. Yeah, it was. Congala, it's because we didn't know the information really. We're still not clear, are we? Congala.
Do you want to give this information? Yes.
Congala.
Chair, it's just a note that we agreed.
It is.
We agreed.
Yes, we agreed it.
Yeah, so it was agreed to donate to the gala, a sum of £3,000. We don't know how much the road closure and the road services are going to go up, but obviously if it's less than that, then the rest is just donated to the event anyway.
That's right. And, I'll just do one more thing now. Years ago, David mentioned something, reference every year we pick a charity and we raise money for that charity. So what we're doing now is because the council give the gala money and then we raise funds and give it to a charity, that we're not going to do it anymore at charity. We're going to do it for the gala. So, you know, so every year, if we can build our money up, we won't have to ask the council for money. So that's what we decided to do. You know, if somebody wants to share a bucket on a floor, that's fine. Now we did that and do it before, but now we're going to stop doing the charity work as such and concentrate on having a gala every year, because it is an amazing thing for the town. And in a sunny day, you get 3,000 or 4,000 people. So it's a good event for the community.
Okay, thank you. Dorothy, yes.
Yeah, I think some years ago when there was money donated to the gala, the same amount was given to a charity. And I thought that was a bit, not odd, but, you know, we might as well have given the money to the charity, but we still needed the gala to keep going. So I think that's really good, Neil. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about that, the thing about that is we need the money to put the gala on to earn the money. And David mentioned that, you know, the same sort of thing. So we sat down and decided that we just put it into the gala, and every year the town comes alive. And if we can get because everything's got up, the acts now are costing between £1,800 and upwards for the main, you know, stunt act. So it just costs money, and without people like without the council and things like that, it wouldn't happen. And it's a good day, and it fills the town full of people. Good for the economy, all the shops. It's really good. But thank you very much for your
Thank you.
3,000.
Item 11, the Great British Rhythm and Blues Festival 2023.
So all the operational elements for this year's festival have now been submitted. The road closure is just with LCC, so we should have it back in the next 2 weeks, the official order. Licensing and environmental health at Pendle Borough Council have asked for a meeting just in regards to times for live music on the streets and that sort of stuff for the temporary events notices. We are using Pendle Hippodrome, and because we couldn't get the Muni because he wasn't willing to negotiate a fee, we have now sent the contract for the exchange project, which that'll be another stage, obviously just over at St John's. The marketing company Scott Dawson are now slowly starting to announce which acts are playing where, and we're getting more acts confirmed every week. I mean, Gina got about 8 confirmed this morning with signed contracts. The catering tenders have gone out, and we have altered the tender just to say that eco-friendly disposable materials are preferred. So that's gone out as well. But tickets are selling slowly. We've sold 36 camping tickets and 122 festival tickets, which some of them were the early bird tickets, which they came off sale on Friday. So they've now
100 and how many? 106?
122.
22.
But the full festival tickets have now gone from £80 to 100 because that offer's now finished. But everything else is under control. We've just got a couple of quotes to wait for. But I think we're ahead of where we were this time last year anyway.
Can I just ask, are we going to offer day tickets, or are we just going to try and concentrate on the full festival tickets?
Well, we've got full festival and then we've got day tickets, but this year they won't be venue specific. Your day ticket will cover both venues.
Okay, yeah. Okay, any questions? Any questions? No? No. And it's Colne Blue Society that are you know, sort of curating the artists, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay, jolly good, excellent. Item 12 is Colne Neighbourhood Plan. Okay, Jonathan.
Right,
Have you got any?
yeah,
just-
I'm just going to give a brief update. The Colne Neighbourhood Development Plan is under examination stage at the moment. The examiner sent his preliminary report in. He has also asked for a formal hearing. This is mainly in regard to housing sites and green spaces, which is the two main areas that we had disagreements with Pendleborough Council, some of their comments. So this is purely to gain more information from everybody, so that he can make a final decision. This has been booked for the 15th of March and will be held here in the town hall. They have said, Pendleborough Council have said that public are able to attend, although they can't participate in the actual process. There will be four, Brian? 4 sessions. Each certain people have been invited to each different sessions. The examiner has sent a hearing note through to suggest what will be discussed in each session. So we're currently looking at that and trying to prepare our answers to his questions.
How do I give it a name?
Oh, I can't.
Because you said so much, can you contact?
It's just the Colne Neighbourhood Plan hearing.
All right.
So.
Anybody wants to ask any questions about this? CFG, yes, Brian.
I just like, I spoke to Gina earlier, I just like that the meeting is publicised on the Colne Town Council website as soon as possible.
Should it be on our Facebook page as well?
I will need to check with Jill at Pendle. I think there are certain things that Pendle have to do, so I'll check with them first just to see if that we're all right to publicise it ourselves.
Yes, Brian.
I like to point out to councillors and public that session 4 is regarding the rough, and it's people are represented there. The developers, Legit and Beyond, and it's coming under consideration. One of the problems is whether it is an extensive tract of land or not. It may be, it may not be. But I'd also like to point out for the public's information as well that Lenchers isn't on. It isn't on in the greens in the neighbourhood plan as a local green space, but people may consider it to be included next time in the next iteration of the Colne Neighbourhood Plan. I'd like to point out that the roof is quite a bit bigger than Lenchers. So if it's considered or not considered an extensive tract of land, it will give some idea whether Lenchers would also be considered as an extensive tract of land, because Lenchers is only 70% the area size of the roof. Thank you.
Thank you. I see what you mean.
Came out slowly.
Yeah, that is extremely interesting. It will be.
I did ask whether they could ask the inspector whether, you know, he's here, whether we could ask him whether Lensures could be considered as local green space, because he queried it before White hadn't been included, but I got knocked back on that. But looking at the other sessions, it looks like, to me, that he's been primed anyway on the planning sites and the local green spaces. It's all coming up in his sessions.
Is session 4, you mean, or one of the other sessions we could?
Yes, session
could-
1, 2, 3, they're
So-
included in there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, initially the examiner had said because of the level of comments that were received, for it to be included as a green space, that we just had to give reasons why it wasn't considered initially. So.
Stage 16.
Hmm.
It could be included at that time, rather than going back to stage 14. And I don't know to back on that. It's only a question. Why the character soon.
Right. Well, at least we're keeping our eye, beady eye on what's going on, aren't we? And trying to. Right, planning. I think these are 4.
There is 4.
You've probably got 3 on your.
No,
agenda.
I gave everyone a new.
All right. Is that it? So the first one is 23/0052/HHO. It's at 9 Castle Court, Colne. Full erection of a first floor extension over existing double garage. Any comments?
The only thing I thought looking at it, it's not actually shown on there. At least it is. The red is very,
No, the red.
very faint. Yeah, well, it's a bit nearer you. If you look at the left hand site plan, the extension does come quite close to number, is it number 10? I think it's number 10. Because I think from memory, numbers 1, 2, 3, the numbers go round rather than odds and evens.
Oh, it does. doesn't it? Yeah.
But when you look at the other one, they're all sort of a bit higgledy-piggledy, and there is already on that side. You can see it on the right-hand one, because what he's doing is going over the garage. So the roof height is actually lower than the ridge height is lower than the house ridge height. So I think as long as it's same materials, it's fine.
Yeah, are we all right with that? Just say that we like, it should be in the same materials and no other comment. The next one is 23/0081/CEU, land to the south of 34 Lensures Road, Colne.
Chair, that is the reason this is here is there. I think Pendle are questioning whether they started work on the site before October
21.
And if Nathan can just move that photograph up a little bit. Oh, didn't say it, or maybe it's down.
No.
All right, well, yeah, there it is. That claims to be starting work on the 10th of January 2021. So really, for us to comment on it. We don't know whether whether that's the start of it or whether somebody just drove a mini JCB on there to make it look as though they started it.
Yeah.
I look back at what we said last time and it was a bit, oh, are we in favour, are we not? So I think we just know the situation.
With no
We know
evidence,
unless-
evidence one way or another.
I'm sure Alice might have had knowledge of whether
Anything's been
anything's been done, but
done. We don't know.
TV's going to go off in a minute.
We're putting no
I
comment
think
there.
we can, yeah.
That's all we can put. Right, the next one is 23/0082/FUL Hayroyd Farm, Skipton Old Road, Colne.
I say no.
Chair, I looked through this and I was just hoping somewhere there was a plastic window or a bifold door or a lintel out of place. The only thing I could find was that one of the trophings was not as per the, I mean, it wasn't even plastic, it was metal. So to give them the due, the application and the person that's written the access statement from somewhere in Rutland, believe it or not, is very thorough with it. And it, as much as it would have been nice to say, oh, it brings the building back. Yeah.
So no comment. Or
The only question is it's in the green belt and this is an extension and whether it's more than 50%. But I think the fact that it's sympathetic and it's bringing the building back into use, that otherwise it would probably just go to rack and ruin.
right.
Been considered, won't it?
No comment there. Or do we say?
Well, I think we should say we welcome.
Welcome it, yeah. The last one is 23/0084/LHE 53 Barrowford Road, Colne, Lancashire. Erection of a single-storey extension to rear and pitched roof extension to rear of attached garage.
Just before the farm. Just before.
Which one is it? Is it? It's not the one that's next to the motorway.
No,
is it?
it's the one next to Nether. As you're going down towards Barrowford, it's the one immediate. There are two just before the farm.
Oh,
Well, it's not much of a farm now because most of the fields aren't. It's the last one there. No, it's above. It's opposite. It's opposite where that used to work. Yeah, opposite there. Yeah, more or less.
yeah.
I couldn't remember looking at this the first time it came round, but having a quick look when David said, did I know there was one missing? No, I didn't, but I think it's fine. The garden at the back is quite a long garden and it won't interfere with, which I forgot the name of the.
It did show it.
Yeah, but it doesn't go near the houses off
On the back.
on the back, yeah.
So no comment then? Yeah.
Off Indeen, off Indeen. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go near the houses off Indeen.
Okay, thank you. Next item is correspondence received. Have we got any? No. Items for a further month's agenda.
I'll bring it up anyway. I don't think it's for next week. There's two issues that I'd like to bring to attention of the council. In Colne, at this moment in time, there is people parking on pavements all over Colne. And it's just getting a little bit out of order. I'm getting a lot of complaints of, there's even one with a wagon on the pavement. You can't walk past it, let alone a wheelchair or anything like that. and it forces people into the street. I've contacted Pendle parking attendants, and they're going to have a look at it. So that's one issue, and that's not just in my ward. It's in everybody's ward. People just forgetting about things, just parking on horrendous. But it's what they get off. And the last thing I want to bring to attention, there's a new drug about. So I'm very aware of drugs in Norwich, right, which is great. And it's called liquid ketamine. Now, 3 young men took the drug. I won't mention the name of the pub, but just up the road. Liquid ketamine is a sedative for horses. That's how strong it is. And these 3 young men took them, and they had to call the ambulance. And it was a very cold one. They come straight away. There were no way. Come straight away, and they got unconscious, and they lifted their hands up the back of the bed. So it's a new drug in the town. So we should all be aware of it, and look out and report. Well, we could go to the police and to the park, and back to the park. But just for your information. Sorry, John,
Thank you.
want something?
No.
Okay.
I've got, I don't know whether it's an item for another meeting, but there's a clash of meetings. Suddenly Pendle Council have got their development control and they put it on Tuesdays, when that's why these people aren't here, because but they didn't have the decency to let us know as a council and say, you know, can we discuss another day or whatever. So I don't know whether we want to contact Lynn
I was going
and say, look, we'll have to come to some, you know, we've had our meetings on Tuesdays for a long time. Why have you suddenly put a very important meeting at Pendle?
The information, find out why and what.
Yeah.
They need it here.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Anything else anybody wants for a future meeting? No?
Are these items for the next month's agenda?
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
these going on the agenda with Councillor?
Well, I think
he
you'll
was
just
making us aware of them.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Have you got anything, Doc, that you want to go on the next agenda? No? Okay. Well, the date and time of next meeting is Monday the 21st of March, when hopefully the SPID thing will be. I'll have some information. Okay, well, thank you for your contributions and your attendance.